not just for the maidens, but for the entire village. The church and churchyard, built on a promontory above the standing stones, was in particular danger. She had tried to warn the village council, but been unable to convince the Pearls and Pumps Brigade to take up the cause. Her letter to the council, so painstakingly composed, had been read aloud at the meeting. It had been met with witless mirth, but no action. Still, she could not entirely blame them for their ignorance. No one living knew the truth of the maidens and what they guarded but Sybil herself. She had decided it was best for now to keep it that way. One balmy day in August, as Sybil was weeding round the stone closest to the cliff's edge, her hands froze in their task, hovering as if suspended by ropes above the sacred ground. Without knowing how she knew, Sybil never could divine where the knowing came from. She knew there was trouble coming to the village of Maidsfell. A very large, dark-haired man was on the way, a man at the wheel of an oddly small red conveyance. A woman sat at his left. Sybil knew he was a good man, a just man, but trouble had sent him and his lady on their journey. Or perhaps they were bringing the trouble. Fleeting, confused images of falling bodies, of blood and fire, passed through Sybil's mind. She sat back on her haunches, trying to steady herself, only gradually able to slow her breathing. She wouldn't know until she met the pair and took their measure. There was no doubt they were headed to Maidsfell, but whatever brought them, or why, the secrets of the maidens must be kept at all costs. It was Sybil's sacred trust. 2. On holiday. It was the height of the summer season in Maidsfell, a village once little known, tucked away as it was on an obscure rocky coast. It had been home to miners, but when the tin mines went into a decline, many men had relocated with their families to the colonies. The fishers, but fewer of them each year, remained. All this was changing. Maidsfell's picturesque stone cottages, scattered haphazardly along cliff-top paths with dramatic views of the Atlantic, had inspired artists for decades, but only since the plague time had the village become a draw for the well-to-do. If one had to shelter in place, the thinking went, one may as well do it in paradise. Even once the crisis faded, the wealthy found they quite liked the idea of somewhere to escape from it all generally being London. For Arthur St and Portia DeAth, an August holiday offered a rare escape from the pressures of their jobs. She, a Cambridge Fellow in Criminology at St Michael's College, he a Detective Chief Inspector in the Cambridgeshire Police. It was a chance for them finally to celebrate their engagement to be married, which had been delayed by one crime or crisis after another. On impulse, they decided against their tentative plans for Italy, lured instead by what an online advertisement described as a deliciously private rental cottage overlooking Maidsfell Harbour in Cornwall. Their wish was for peace and quiet, blissful nights, late mornings, and days filled with hiking, sunbathing, picnicking, fine dining, and sketching the local scenery, him, or taking notes for a future crime novel, her. Portia moonlighted as a well-known detective novelist. Weather forecasters had promised a few sunny days, interrupted by the usual summer storms that would turn up uninvited, but just as suddenly disappear. They had taken the train from Cambridge and rented a car at Truro station. The mid-size model St Just had ordered online, being mysteriously unavailable, they'd been given a tiny red Fiat that made the large policeman look like a circus clown at the wheel, knees